Hey, good morning, folks. Happy hump day. Hope everyone's doing all right. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's been just a wee bit messy. A wee bit messy. It's a lot of moving parts, obviously, but the main ingredient here, the main thing we are going to be looking forward to today will be Fed Chair Powell's testimony in front of the Senate Banking Committee and whether or not they're going to be able to basically, forward questions to him in a way where he can no longer not uh, entertain them or, basically not going through them. There was something I heard on Bloomberg this morning that was really interesting. Is if they can just ask him, are you willing to basically in order to fight off inflation, are you willing to induce inflation? Sorry, induce a recession in the US economy. So that is basically the big ticket item here, right? I mean, on data we have had the UK releasing inflation print, and later today we'll be getting the same from Canada. But what we've seen on markets, I mean, okay, the Dixie currently, I did say the 104s were kind of important. In a way, it is. We are holding above right now, seeing just basically just this excess over here below and just massive buying that came back in, pretty much solidifying that 104s is a really important inflection point going forward. Next point, we're just getting some resistance on Monday's high before potentially going for a retest of this prior year high. But what's really interesting in terms of price action is we saw this. This is a daily chart for crude oil, and we basically just slipped like crazy. And a couple of reasons really, but the main thing that kind of was the impetus really to this massive sell-off during APAC trade was that President Biden is really pushing to basically contain soaring gas prices by reducing tax on gas. Um, I'm not going to get into the politics or the policy of it all, but by the end of the day, what it means is by reducing the tax, then the co- basically corporations that sell the gasoline itself can then um, bring the prices down. He's telling them, I'll bring the tax down, but then you guys have to, play ball. Um, but at the same time, refining capacity in the US. Another reason that they have to do this is because refining capacity, due to the really high prices, it makes it, basically the invisible hand of economics, Adam Smith, what have you. The fact that the prices are so high that they're really impeding refining capacity because it's too expensive. So by bringing that down, then they can then ramp up production, put more gasoline on the market, especially during driving season. Um, Apart from that, no difference in the basically the OPEC plus picture. But 4 months into the Ukrainian war, we still have massive imports from European countries on Russian energy. So the quote unquote embargo is not really cutting off Russian supply completely. We are still European countries are still buying them, so that supply. So instead of having to buy from other sources, they're still getting it from Russia. So yeah, a bit of a redundant thing in a way in terms of how it could then be perceived to crude traders to be bullish on price. Um, Other than that, I did mention this a couple of days back that if we fail this level over here, it's going to be a bit of a wicked move, and we have done so far a bit of a rebound. Just not rebound. It's more like just paring back a bit of losses, buying, selling, taking profits, what have you, and then now we're continuing that downward movement, right? Because the BOJ although now they're starting to ramp up a bit on the notion that a correction might be on the cards, um, for various reasons. I'm not going to get into that right now because it's just a bit of basically those are just ideas being put forward rather than something that's actual substance in a way. Like, yeah. And over here we have the euro just testing that level that I did mention a couple of times. So there you go, this May range, low the May range over here, just slightly above S2 on day. If you do get to S2, that'll be, in a way, value-wise, might be perceived as a bit cheaper than usual. So with the Dixie being as high as it is, with the Dixie soaring, but anyway, okay, we have seen strong bids coming in, in the European pre-market, and at the same time, which is why this the trade on the mother trend line we held below on the day, closed underneath the trend line here, and opened to then just trade lower on gold. On equities, bit of a relief rally, and now we're back to testing that prior low. Right, like I said, you don't want to be too what do you call this, gung ho, or just thinking, just because it's rallying one day, then you just put on risk. We live in very uncertain times due to the fact there's so many moving parts. And so today, let's see what Powell says. It'll be late in the evening, so you might see a bit of wishy-washy action here, which we did see yesterday as well. It was an absolute torture trying to trade crude. Absolute torture. So trading below 106s, sorry, below 105s right now. So looking like 104s would be next. I mean, in terms of, maybe take profits and stuff, but the real level here would be, inflection point wise would be around the 103s, right? 94s, 1 to 90s before we get to the 101s. Really, that's a long ways down, but in a way, the only reasonable area to kind of get on a proper long or short, because we are seeing crude continue to just get pressure down here. If I put this on a smaller time frame, there you go, that's a minute chart. Yeah, just every time tries to go up, just ram, tries to go up, test prior lows again. So the pressure is real. We are seeing a lot of prices coming down as well. So yesterday, wheat, palm oil, uh, fertilizer costs that was driving food costs globally is now trading at January lows. So, according to basically analysts, the price of fertilizer peaked in March. So if it continues, then we might see further continuation on the downside for basically food costs, and that then means inflation perhaps, before the end of the year could be tamed. All right. So that is it from me. This is Reed with the Daily Briefing. Hit subscribe, bell icon to get notified in the next video, and hit like. We'd really appreciate that, and put the word out. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good session ahead.